The emergency sirens echoed through Sanctuary Prime, the largest orbital station in Vellani space. Ambassador Hai walked quickly through the curved hallways, her 4 legs moving in practiced rhythm. She had lived for 90 years, but she had never heard these alarms before. They meant only one thing: extinction was coming. The Grand Council chamber was full when she arrived. 23 leaders from 23 worlds, all talking at once. Their voices created a buzzing sound that hurt her sensitive ears. Council Prime Dal stood at the center, trying to bring order to the chaos. "Please, everyone," Dal's voice cut through the noise. "We must think clearly." The holographic display showed the truth they all feared. 3 colonies had gone silent in the past month. The last transmissions showed the same horror. Ships. Thousands of them. Living ships that moved like insects and consumed everything in their path. The Krethak swarm had found them. Hay took her seat and watched the recordings again. The Krethak bioships were beautiful in a terrible way. They pulsed with strange light and left trails of spores behind them, but they brought only death. They landed on worlds and consumed them. Every plant, every animal, every Vellani, everything became food for the swarm. "We must contact the Korthan Empire," one council member said. "They have the military power to help us." "The Korthans are 3 months away," another replied, "and they will demand we join their empire. We would trade one conqueror for another." "What about the Zephyli Concordat?" 2 months away, and they will want us to abandon 4 of our colonies as payment." The debate continued. The Vellani had built their civilization on peace and learning. They had no weapons, no soldiers, no way to fight. For 300 years that had been enough. Now it would kill them all. Hay accessed the Galactic database on her personal terminal. She had spent years studying the lesser-known species, the ones most civilizations ignored. She searched for anyone close enough to help, anyone at all. Then she found it. A small entry. Planet, Earth. Location, only 2 weeks away by fastest ship. Classification, Deathworld Class 12, Species Human. Status, recently spacefaring. Military capacity, unknown. She read the details. Earth was classified as one of the most hostile planets in the known galaxy. Extreme gravity, dangerous weather. Violent geology, aggressive predators. Even the plants were toxic. The humans who evolved there had to become incredibly tough just to survive. "Ambassador Hay," Dal said, noticing her attention elsewhere. "Do you have something to contribute?" Hay stood slowly. Her hands shook. "I may have found an option. There is a species called humans. They are close, very close." "Humans?" Dal accessed his own terminal. "I see. A Deathworld species. Recently discovered FTL travel. What military capacity do they have?" "Unknown," Hay admitted. "But they are only 2 weeks away. Everyone else will take months to arrive. We do not have months." The council chamber fell silent. They all understood what she meant. The Krithak were coming. The swarm had consumed 3 worlds already. Velen Prime, their homeworld with 15 billion souls, would be next. "What can we expect from them?" another council member asked. "Even if they send help, they are newly spacefaring. Perhaps 1 ship? 2? "Any help is better than none," Hai said quietly. "And perhaps showing the galaxy that someone responded will encourage others to act." Dal considered this. He was old, even for a Vellani. He had guided their people through disasters before, but nothing like this. "Very well. Ambassador Hay, compose a message to these humans. Be honest about our situation. Ask for whatever aid they can provide." Hay returned to her quarters and spent hours crafting the message. She tried to be clear without being too desperate. She tried to be hopeful without lying. Finally, she settled on simple truth. "People of Earth, we are the Vellani. We are a peaceful species facing extinction. The Krythak swarm is consuming our worlds. We have no weapons to fight them. We have no soldiers to defend our people. We are asking the galaxy for help. You are the closest species to us. We understand you are new to space travel. We do not expect much. Even a single vessel would show us that the galaxy has not abandoned us. Please, if you can spare any aid at all, we beg you to help us survive. She attached their coordinates and all their data on the Krythak. Then she sent the message and prayed to the old gods that someone would answer. The message reached Earth 3 days later. It arrived at the monitoring station on Luna and was immediately forwarded to Earth Defense Command in Geneva. Admiral Wu read it to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The room was silent when he finished. Then everyone started talking at once, just like the Volani Council had. How far away are they? 2 weeks by FTL, sir. What do we know about the Krythak? Analyzing their data now. They appear to be a hive mind species, bioships, overwhelming numbers, highly aggressive. What assets do we have available? The 7th Fleet is currently on patrol near the outer colonies. They could be redirected. Admiral Wu looked at the star charts. He thought about the message. A peaceful species facing extinction, asking for help, asking for even one ship. He remembered the gene plague of '87, how humanity had nearly died, how they had barely survived because other nations helped when they could have stayed isolated and safe. "Get me Fleet Marshal Tay," Wu said. 10 minutes later, Tay's face appeared on the screen. He was young for a fleet marshal, only 42, but he had earned his rank in the Titan Wars. He looked tired. The 7th Fleet had been on patrol for 6 months. "Admiral," Tay said, "what can I do for you? How fast can you get your fleet to these coordinates?" Wu sent him the Volani location. Tay checked his navigation systems. 10 days if we push the engines, 12 days safely. Why? There's a species there that needs help. They're facing extinction from a hostile swarm. They asked us for aid. How many ships are they expecting? They asked for 1 ship. Maybe 2 if we could spare them. Tay smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of someone who had fought and survived and learned to protect others. "And how many are we sending?" "All of them," Wu said. "Every ship you have. Maximum combat load. Get there in 10 days. "Yes, sir." Tay's smile grew. The 7th Fleet will deploy immediately. In Volani space, Ambassador Hai waited by her communication terminal. 4 days had passed since she sent the message. No response. 4 more days passed. Still nothing. She began to lose hope. Then on the 9th day, a message arrived. It was simple, direct, very human. "Volani people, this is Fleet Marshal Tay of the Earth Defense Force. We received your message. Help is coming. Hold on. We will be there soon." Hay felt relief flood through her. They had responded. Earth had responded. She immediately sent the message to the Grand Council. "They are sending help," she announced. "The humans are coming." "How many ships?" Dal asked. "The message does not say, but they are coming. That is what matters." The Volani prepared to receive their human allies. They cleared docking space at Sanctuary Prime. They prepared quarters in low-gravity sections. They assumed 1 ship would arrive, perhaps a small vessel, perhaps something old that Earth could spare. They had no idea what was actually coming. In deep space, the 7th Fleet jumped to FTL. 43 warships, 3 dreadnoughts, 15 cruisers, 20 destroyers, 5 carriers loaded with fighter wings, 15,000 Marines, enough firepower to crack a planet, all of it heading to save a species they had never met. The 7th Fleet moved through FTL space like a spear aimed at the heart of the Krythak swarm. Aboard the flagship EDS Indomitable, Fleet Marshal Tay stood on the bridge and reviewed the tactical data the Volani had sent. The Krythak were worse than he had expected. They were not just aggressive, they were a plague. Their bioships grew from consumed matter. Every world they destroyed made them stronger. Every species they consumed added to their numbers. "How long until we arrive?" Tay asked. 6 hours, sir," the navigation officer replied. Tay nodded and opened the fleet-wide channel. "All ships, this is Fleet Marshal Tay. In 6 hours we will arrive in Valani space. We are going there to stop an extinction. The Krithak swarm has already killed billions. They will not kill billions more. We are going to show them what happens when they threaten innocent people. We are going to show them what humans do to bullies. Prepare for combat. That is all." In the Marine barracks, Captain Baum gathered her soldiers. She was a veteran of the Titan Wars, covered in scars that told stories of 100 battles. Her Marines loved her and feared her in equal measure. "Listen up," she said. "We are going to meet a species called the Valani. They are peaceful. They are fragile. They cannot fight. The Krithak are going to kill them if we do not stop it. So we are going to stop it. Check your armor. Check your weapons. Check your squad. We are Marines. We do not lose." The Marines roared their approval. They ran final drills in the high-gravity training rooms. They tested their powered armor and railguns. They sharpened their combat blades. They were ready. In the engineering section, Na monitored the new dreadnought systems. The 3 massive ships were fresh from Neptune yards. They carried weapons that pushed the limits of physics, kinetic accelerators that could shoot projectiles at nearly light speed, fusion lances that created small suns, antimatter torpedoes that could crack moons. "All systems green," Na reported to the bridge. "The dreadnoughts are ready for full combat operations." In the medical bay, Officer Yu reviewed the xenobiology data on the Valani. She was disturbed by what she read. The Valani had evolved on a low-gravity world with gentle conditions. Their bones were hollow like bird bones. Their lungs could barely handle Earth's atmospheric pressure. Even normal Earth gravity would crush them. She prepared her medical teams for both human and Valani casualties. She hoped they would only need to treat humans. The 6 hours passed quickly. The 7th Fleet dropped out of FTL at the edge of Valani space. Their arrival was detected immediately by every sensor in the system. On Sanctuary Prime, Ambassador Hay was in a meeting when the alarms sounded. Not the emergency alarms this time, the arrival alarms. Someone had just entered their space. "Is it the Krithak?" someone asked in panic. "No," the sensor officer said, his voice confused. "The signatures are different. They are ships, metal ships, fusion engines. They match the profile of Earth vessels." "How many?" Dal asked. The sensor officer checked his readings 3 times. He could not believe what he was seeing. "Sir, I count 43 vessels. No, wait. I am reading this wrong. Let me recalibrate." "What does it say?" Hay demanded. 43 vessels, Ambassador. 3 of them are massive. Larger than anything in our civilian fleet. They are warships, all of them." The council chamber fell silent. Hai felt her legs weaken. 43 ships. They had asked for 1. The humans had sent 43. "I must meet them," Hay said. "Prepare my shuttle." Her ship approached the human fleet slowly. As she got closer, her sensors gave her better data. Her mandibles began to tremble. The Indomitable was enormous. It massed more than all of Sanctuary Prime. Its hull was thick, compressed metal. Its surface bristled with weapons, gun ports, missile tubes, launch bays. This was not a ship built for exploration. This was a ship built for war. Her shuttle received docking clearance. As she approached the Indomitable, she could see human fighters conducting patrol flights. They moved fast, too fast. Their pilots were pulling maneuvers that would kill most species. She docked, and the airlock opened. A human officer greeted her. He was tall, much taller than any Valani. His uniform was crisp, and he stood straight. "Ambassador Hay, welcome aboard. I am Lieutenant Pak. The Fleet Marshal is waiting for you. We have reduced the gravity to 0.8 Earth standard for your comfort." 0.8. Hay stepped into the corridor and nearly collapsed. The gravity was crushing. She forced herself to stand. She could not show weakness. Not now. Lieutenant Pack noticed her struggle. "Would you like a mobility assist, Ambassador?" "No, thank you. I will manage." The walk to the briefing room was the longest of her life. Every step felt like lifting a mountain. Her hollow bones ached. Her lungs burned. How did humans live in this gravity every day? Fleet Marshal Tay was waiting in the briefing room. He was younger than she expected. His hair was black and his eyes were sharp. When he saw her struggling, he immediately adjusted the gravity even lower. "Forgive me, Ambassador. I did not realize Point 8 would still be difficult for you." Hay managed to bow. "Thank you, Fleet Marshal. You are very kind. Please sit. We have much to discuss." Hay sat gratefully. She looked at the human commander. "Fleet Marshal, I must apologize. Our message asked for whatever small aid you could provide. We did not mean to demand so much. One ship would have been enough to show solidarity. We cannot repay you for 43 vessels." Tay looked confused. "Ambassador, we did not come here to be repaid. We came because you asked for help. That is what neighbors do. But the expense, the resources, the risk to your people." "Ambassador Hay," Tay said gently, "my species almost went extinct 3 times in our history. We survived because people helped us when they did not have to. We learned something from that. When someone needs help, you help them. You do not count the cost." Hay felt something wet on her face. She was crying. In all her 90 years, she had never encountered a species like this. They had the power to conquer, the weapons to destroy, and they chose to protect instead. "Now," Tay said, pulling up a tactical display, "let us discuss the Krythak. How many ships are in the swarm approaching your home world?" "Our estimates suggest between 3,000 and 5,000 bioships." Tay did not even blink. "Understood. We will deploy the fleet in a defensive formation around Velen Prime. Our dreadnoughts will form the center line. Cruisers and destroyers will provide coverage. Fighter wings will engage any ships that break through." "Fleet Marshal, they outnumber you by more than 100 to 1. Tay smiled. It was not a cruel smile. It was confident. "Sure. Ambassador, my ships were built by a species that evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. Our weapons are designed to fight in conditions that would destroy most civilizations. Our soldiers train in gravity that would crush your people. The Krythak outnumber us, but numbers are not everything." He stood. "I need you to evacuate your orbital stations. Get every civilian to the surface or far away from the battle zone. The Krythak will arrive in approximately 30 hours. We will be ready." Hay stood as well. The reduced gravity made it easier. "Fleet Marshal Tay, why did you really come? Your species could ignore us. You could demand payment. You could conquer us yourselves. Why help strangers?" Tay was quiet for a moment. "Because someone needs to. Because the galaxy should be better than it is. Because we can. Is that not reason enough?" Hay left the Indomitable with tears still in her eyes. She returned to Sanctuary Prime and gave the evacuation order. The Vellani people prepared for the battle that would decide their fate. And in the void of space, 43 human warships took their positions and waited for the swarm. The Krythak swarm arrived exactly when Fleet Marshal Tay predicted. They came from deep space like a living nightmare. Thousands of bioships pulsing with strange light, each one grown from consumed organic matter, each one a part of the hive mind that controlled them all. On Velen Prime, billions watched their screens in terror. The swarm was so large it blocked out the stars. So many ships that sensors could not count them all. The Vellani had no weapons, no defenses. They could only watch and pray. But between the swarm and their homeworld stood 43 human warships. The 7th Fleet was arranged in a sphere around Velen Prime. The 3 dreadnoughts, indomitable, relentless, and unbreakable, formed the center. Cruisers spread out in supporting positions. Destroyers patrolled the outer edge. Fighter wings launched from the carriers and took up screening positions. Ambassador Hay watched from Sanctuary Prime. She could see both the massive swarm and the tiny human fleet on her sensors. The difference in numbers was insane. The Krithak had thousands of ships. The humans had only 43. "They cannot win," Council Prime Dal said quietly. "There are too many." But Hay remembered Fleet Marshal Tay's words. Numbers are not everything. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Tay watched the swarm approach. His tactical officer was counting enemy ships and had stopped at 4,000. There were more behind those, many more. "Sir, we are outnumbered at least 100 to 1, the tactical officer said. "Noted. Weapons status? All weapons ready. Reactors at 120%. All systems green." Engineer Na's voice came through from the engine room. "Fleet Marshal, the dreadnoughts are running hot but stable. We can maintain combat power for 6 hours of continuous firing." "Excellent. Captain Baum, are your Marines ready?" From the Marine deck, Baum's voice was firm. "We are ready, sir. Let them come." Medical Officer Yu reported from the medical bay. "All trauma teams standing by. We are ready for casualties." Tay took a breath. He thought about Earth, about how humans had nearly died so many times, about how they had survived by fighting when they had to, about how they had learned to protect others. "All ships," he said on the fleet-wide channel. "This is Fleet Marshal Tay. The Krithak think they can consume this world like they consumed the others. They think these gentle people are easy prey. They are about to learn different. They are about to learn what happens when Deathworlders say no. All ships, weapons free, fire at will." The Indomitable fired first. Its main kinetic accelerator launched a tungsten rod at 90% of light speed. The projectile crossed the distance to the swarm in seconds. When it hit, the lead bioship simply vaporized. The kinetic energy was so high that the ship did not explode. It ceased to exist. The projectile continued through and hit another ship, and another, and another. One shot. 15 ships destroyed. The Relentless and Unbreakable opened fire with their own kinetic accelerators. More tungsten rods, more ships vaporized. The front ranks of the swarm disappeared in flashes of destruction. The cruisers fired fusion lances. These were not lasers. They were directed thermonuclear explosions, contained fusion reactions aimed like weapons. Where they hit, bioships burned. Entire formations of the swarm were scoured from space. The destroyers launched antimatter torpedoes. These were the most dangerous weapons humanity had created. Where matter and antimatter met, both were converted to pure energy. The explosions erased everything nearby. Whole sections of the swarm simply vanished. The fighter wings engaged with railguns and plasma missiles. Each pilot had trained for years in high-gravity environments. Their reflexes were faster than any computer. They flew patterns that defied physics and destroyed bioships by the dozens. On Valen Prime, billions watched in shock. The human weapons were beyond anything they had imagined. Each shot destroyed multiple enemies. Each salvo erased formations. The 7th Fleet was outnumbered by 100 to 1, but they were winning. The Krithak hive mind recognized the threat. It adapted. The bioships spread out, trying to avoid the concentrated fire. They split into multiple attack groups. They moved in patterns designed to confuse sensors and targeting systems. It did not matter. Human weapons tracked them all. Human computers calculated firing solutions faster than the hive mind could adapt. Human crews worked with practiced efficiency born from years of training and combat. The swarm tried to overwhelm the fleet with numbers. Hundreds of bioships charged directly at the human formations, willing to die if it meant getting through. The destroyers met them with walls of point defense fire. Railguns fired thousands of rounds per minute. Missiles launched in waves. Not a single bioship reached the cruiser line. but 3 ships managed to break through on the outer edge. They were smaller, faster. They curved around the destroyer screen and headed for the cruiser Defiance. The cruiser fired everything it had, but the bioships were too close. They rammed the hull. Acid burned through the armor. Boarding tentacles breached the interior. Krythak organisms flooded into the ship. "Defiance has been boarded," the tactical officer reported. "They are requesting marine support." "Negative," Tay said. "Captain Baum, your people are already on the Defiance. Handle it." On the Defiance, alarms screamed. Krythak organisms were in the corridors. They looked like a nightmare combination of insect and squid. They had claws and acid sprayers and too many teeth. Then Captain Baum's Marines arrived. The Marines wore powered armor that amplified their already formidable Deathworlder strength. They carried railguns that fired projectiles at supersonic speeds. They had combat blades with monomolecular edges that could cut through almost anything. But most importantly, they were humans. They had evolved fighting predators on Earth. They had refined combat into an art form. They did not fear. They did not hesitate. The Krythak organisms had never encountered anything like them. The Marines moved through the ship in perfect coordination. They fired with deadly accuracy. When the railguns ran out of ammunition, they used their blades. When the blades broke, they used their armored fists. One Marine, a young woman named Hana, found herself facing 5 organisms in a narrow corridor. Her railgun was empty. Her blade was stuck in a Krythak corpse. She smiled inside her helmet and charged. Her powered armor made her strong enough to tear metal. She grabbed the first organism and threw it into the others. She crushed the second with her armored fist. The remaining 3 tried to spray her with acid, but her armor held. She killed them all with her bare hands in under 30 seconds. Captain Baum led the assault team to the breach point. The Krythak were trying to widen the hole and bring in more organisms. She pulled out her personal weapon, a heavy railgun designed for zero-gravity combat, and fired into the mass of enemies. "Push them back," she ordered. "Seal that breach." The Marines advanced step by step. The Krythak fell back. After 18 minutes of close combat, the last organism was dead, and the breach was sealed. "Defiance, this is Captain Baum. The ship is secure. We took 0 casualties." Back in space, the battle continued. The Krythak had lost more than half their swarm. Over 2,000 bioships were destroyed. Debris filled the space around Velan Prime. But the hive mind did not retreat. It could not retreat. It only knew how to attack and consume. Fleet Marshal Tay watched the enemy formations and made a decision. "All ships, advance. Let us end this." The 7th Fleet moved forward. The dreadnoughts led the way, their weapons firing continuously. The cruisers and destroyers followed, adding their firepower. The fighter wings swept ahead, clearing the path. The Krythak threw everything they had at the advancing fleet. Thousands of bioships in a desperate final assault. It was not enough. Human weapons were designed by a species that had survived ice ages and supervolcanoes and wars that nearly destroyed their planet. They were built to survive and to win. They did both. 6 hours after the battle began, it was over. The last Krythak bioship was destroyed. The swarm was gone. Space around Velan Prime was filled with debris and fading energy signatures. The 7th Fleet formed up and conducted damage assessment. The cruiser Defiance needed repairs. Several destroyers had depleted their missile stocks. 73 humans were injured, mostly from the boarding action. None were dead. On Velan Prime, 15 billion Velani stared at their screens in stunned silence. The humans had destroyed an enemy that consumed 4 worlds in 6 hours, with 43 ships against thousands. Ambassador Hay sat in the council chamber and tried to process what she had just witnessed. The humans called themselves Deathworlders. Now she understood what that meant. They were not just tough. They were apex predators who had turned their violent evolution into something protective, something good. Council Prime Dal spoke for all of them. We invited Deathworlders to our home. We did not understand what that meant, but now we do. And we are grateful. 3 days after the battle, Ambassador Hay returned to the Indomitable. This time, the walk from the docking bay was easier. The humans had installed special low-gravity corridors for Volani guests. They had thought of everything. Fleet Marshal Tay met her in the same briefing room. He looked tired but satisfied. Ambassador, welcome back. How are your people? They are celebrating, Hay said. For the first time in weeks, they believe they will survive. Because of you. Tay smiled. We were happy to help, but we need to discuss the future. The Krithak swarm we destroyed was only one part of a much larger organism. They will come back, probably with more ships. Hay felt her hope fade. How long do we have? Unknown. Could be months. Could be years. But they will return. Then we are still doomed. We cannot build a fleet in months or years. We do not have the knowledge or resources. That is why I want to propose something, Tay said. He pulled up documents on the display. A mutual defense pact. Humanity will station a task force in your space, 4 ships at all times, rotating crews every 6 months. We will help you build defensive stations and train your people in basic combat operations. And what do you want in return? Hay asked. She had studied galactic politics. No species offered protection for free. Your medical technology is far ahead of ours. Your terraforming expertise could help us colonize difficult worlds. Share your knowledge with us, not as payment, but as friends helping friends. Hay stared at him. That is all? You save us from extinction and you ask only for knowledge we would gladly share anyway? We are not looking to exploit you, Ambassador. We are looking to build a relationship. Humanity is new to space. We need friends, and the Volani seem like good people to be friends with. Hay returned to Sanctuary Prime and presented the proposal to the Grand Council. The debate lasted for hours. Some council members worried about becoming dependent on human military power. Others feared that accepting permanent military presence would change their culture. Council Prime Dal listened to all arguments. Then he spoke. Our ancestors built our civilization on the belief that intelligence could transcend violence. For 300 years, that belief served us well, but the galaxy is more dangerous than we wanted to admit. The humans showed us something important. Sometimes compassion requires strength. They came not to conquer, but to protect. That is a philosophy I can support. The vote was unanimous. The Volani accepted the human proposal. Over the following weeks, something remarkable began to happen. The 2 species started to learn from each other. Captain Baum established a training program for Volani volunteers. The first class had 50 students. They were young Volani who wanted to protect their people. Baum had to completely redesign the training. Volani could not survive Earth gravity. Their hollow bones would shatter under the stress of human combat drills. But they could learn tactics. They could learn strategy. They could learn to operate weapons designed for lower gravity environments. Baum found herself becoming a teacher, and she discovered she was good at it. One student, a young male named Rin, asked her why humans fought so fiercely. Because we know what it means to almost lose everything, Baum explained. My species survived a plague that killed billions. We survived wars that nearly destroyed our world. We fight because we remember those times. We fight so others do not have to suffer like we did. Rin thought about this. So violence can serve peace? Violence can serve many things, Baum said. It can serve conquest and cruelty, but it can also serve protection and justice. The difference is in why you fight and who you fight for. Engineer Na worked with Volani scientists on hybrid technology. The Volani had incredible energy systems, far more efficient than human reactors. The humans had powerful weapons and strong materials. Together, They designed defensive satellites that combined both strengths. The first prototype station was completed in 4 weeks. It could track threats across an entire star system. It mounted weapons that could destroy bioships at extreme range, and it was powered by Volani energy cores that would run for decades. "This is incredible," the Volani lead scientist, an elderly female named Aura, said. "We never thought to combine our technologies this way." Na shrugged. "Sometimes it takes an outside perspective. You have the knowledge. You just needed someone to help you apply it differently." Medical Officer Yu established a joint research facility on Valen Prime. Human doctors worked alongside Volani healers. They shared techniques and knowledge. The humans were amazed by Volani surgical precision. The Volani were amazed by human regenerative medicine and trauma care. One day, a Volani doctor named Kyo asked Yu about human medical history. Yu told him about the gene plague, about how it had killed 3 billion humans in 5 years, about how doctors and scientists had worked without sleep to find a cure. "How did you survive such horror?" Kyo asked. "We refused to give up," Yu said simply. "And we helped each other. Rich countries shared their research with poor countries. Enemies became allies. We learned that survival requires cooperation. That lesson shaped everything we became." Ambassador Hai spent time learning about Earth. She watched historical documentaries. She read human literature. She tried to understand what made them different. One evening, she met with Fleet Marshal Tay in an observation lounge. They looked out at Valen Prime together. "Your species confuses me," Hay admitted. "You have such capacity for violence. Your weapons are terrifying. Your soldiers are trained killers, but you use that power to protect others. How?" Tay was quiet for a long moment. "We learned the hard way. Earth's history is full of wars and cruelty. We hurt each other for thousands of years, but we also helped each other. Slowly we learned that cooperation was stronger than competition, that protecting others made us all safer." He turned to look at her. "We are not perfect, Ambassador. We still have problems. We still make mistakes. But we try to be better than we were. We try to use our strength for good. That is all anyone can do." 6 weeks after the battle, the first Volani defense crews graduated from training. They were assigned to their own patrol ships, small vessels built with hybrid technology. They were not powerful by human standards, but they were armed and capable. Captain Baum watched them pass in review. 50 young Volani who 3 months ago did not know how to fight. Now they stood ready to defend their people. Rin, who had been first in his class, approached her. "Captain Baum, thank you for teaching us." "You earned it," Baum said. "You worked hard. You learned well. I am proud of you." "We will protect our people now," Rin said, "like you protected us." "I know you will," Baum replied. The 7th Fleet prepared to depart. They would leave behind a 4-ship task force and several hundred human advisors. The rest would return to Earth, though they would rotate back regularly. Fleet Marshal Tay met with Ambassador Hay one final time before leaving. "The galaxy will hear about what happened here," Tay said. "Word will spread. Some species will be curious, some will be afraid. Let them think what they want." "What should we tell them?" Hai asked. "Tell them the truth. Tell them that humans keep their promises. Tell them that we came because you asked. Tell them that in this galaxy, that matters." As the main fleet prepared to jump to FTL, Ambassador Hay stood on Sanctuary Prime and watched. She thought about how much had changed in just a few weeks. Her people had faced extinction. Now they had hope. They had friends. They had learned that peace was worth protecting and that sometimes protection required strength. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Fleet Marshal Tay looked at the stars ahead. Earth was waiting, but he knew they would return to Velan space. They had made a promise, and humans kept their promises. 6 months after the Battle of Velan Prime, the story had spread across the galaxy. It grew with each telling. Humans deployed 43 warships to save strangers. They destroyed the Krythak swarm in hours. They asked for nothing but friendship in return. Some species called it propaganda. Others called it impossible. But the Villani had recordings. They had data. They had proof. And they shared it freely. In the throne room of the Korthan Empire, War Master Chal reviewed the battle footage for the 10th time. The Korthans were one of the oldest military powers in the galaxy. They had conquered 100 worlds and defended 1,000 more. They thought they understood warfare. The human tactics confused them. The weapons violated several assumptions about what was physically possible. The speed of human reflexes and the strength of human soldiers exceeded all projections. "How is this possible?" Chal asked his analysts. "They evolved on a Class 12 death world, War Master. Earth's gravity is nearly twice standard. Their atmospheric pressure is extreme. Their evolution created a species that is physically superior to most galactic races." "But their technology, these weapons." "They have only been spacefaring for 40 years, but they spent thousands of years developing weapons to fight each other. They brought that expertise to space." Chal made a decision. "Send a delegation to Earth. We need to understand their intentions." The Korthan delegation arrived at Earth 3 weeks later. They met with Admiral Wu and the Joint Chiefs of Staff in Geneva. The meeting was tense. "We want to know your goals," Chal said directly. "Your species has military capacity that rivals empires 10 times your age. What do you intend to do with that power?" Admiral Wu met his eyes. "We intend to defend ourselves and our friends. Beyond that, we seek peaceful trade and cooperation. And if someone threatens you, or your friends, then we respond, as we did for the Villani." Chal studied the human admiral. He saw no deception, no hidden agenda, just simple truth. It confused him. In his experience, powerful species conquered. They dominated. They did not offer protection for friendship. "You could rule much of the galaxy with your military," Chal said. "Why do you not try?" "Because ruling requires controlling people who do not want to be controlled," Wu replied. "That requires constant force and creates constant resistance. We tried that on Earth. It never worked for long. We learned that cooperation is stronger than domination." Chal returned to the Korthan Empire with his report. His recommendation was simple. Do not make enemies of the humans. They are dangerous, but they do not seek conquest. Treat them with respect and they will respond with respect. Threaten them or their friends, and they will respond with overwhelming force. The Zephali Concordat, a democratic union of 17 species, sent their own delegation. They met with human diplomats and proposed formal relations. They wanted to establish trade agreements and cultural exchanges. The humans agreed, but added one condition. Any mutual defense pact must extend to smaller, vulnerable species like the Villani. The Concordat accepted. They understood what the humans were doing. They were building a network of protected species, creating stability through strength and friendship. Other species began reaching out to Earth. Some requests were genuine, small civilizations facing pirates or natural disasters. Some were opportunistic, powerful species hoping to exploit human military power for their own goals. Earth's government developed a policy. They would help species facing genuine threats, especially when those species could not defend themselves. They would not help aggressive species in territorial disputes. They would not conquer for others. The 12th Fleet deployed to help the Kalani during a pirate crisis. The pirates had been raiding Quilani trade routes for years. They expected easy prey. They got human destroyers instead. The pirate fleet was destroyed in 3 days. The survivors fled to the far edge of the galaxy. The Third Fleet provided disaster relief after a stellar collision devastated the Prethon system. Human engineers worked alongside Prethon survivors to rebuild infrastructure. Human doctors treated tens of thousands of wounded. When the Prethon offered payment, the humans refused. Neighbors helped neighbors, they said. Each deployment reinforced humanity's growing reputation. They were strong, they were competent, and they could be trusted. On Valen Prime, the transformation continued. The hybrid defense stations were fully operational now. 4 Vellani crews operated their own patrol vessels. The first graduating class of Vellani Marines, including Rin, had completed advanced training with Captain Balm. Ambassador Hai had become something unexpected. She was now a voice for smaller species in galactic affairs. She traveled to other worlds and shared the Vellani experience. "We were prey," she told a gathering of minor species representatives. "We faced extinction and had no way to fight. Then the humans came. They did not conquer us. They did not demand tribute. They protected us and taught us to protect ourselves. They showed us that we could be more than victims." Her message resonated. Other small species began reaching out to Earth. Some wanted protection. Others wanted training. All of them wanted the same thing the Vellani had found: hope. 2 years after the Battle of Vallon Prime, humanity had become a major force in galactic politics, not through conquest or intimidation, but through consistent action. They kept their promises. They protected the weak. They asked for friendship instead of submission. Some species called this the Deathworlder doctrine: overwhelming force in service of protection, minimal demands in return, lasting friendship instead of temporary alliances. Not everyone liked it. The aggressive species, the ones who built their power on conquest and intimidation, saw humanity as a threat to their way of life. But they also saw the recordings from Valen Prime. They saw what happened to those who attacked human friends. Most chose to avoid conflict. Admiral Wu addressed the Earth Defense Force Annual Assembly 2 years after the Vellani incident. He spoke to thousands of officers and enlisted personnel. "When we went to the stars, we prepared for war. We built these ships and trained these soldiers because we know the galaxy can be dangerous. But we found something else out there. We found species who needed help. We found civilizations who valued peace over power. We found opportunities to be better than we have been." He paused, looking out at the gathered military personnel. "We are not peacekeepers. We are not conquerors. We are humans. We fight when we must. We protect those who cannot protect themselves, and we try to make the galaxy a little better than we found it." The Vellani called us Deathworlders. It was a scientific term, but maybe it means something more. We survived Earth. We survived ice ages and plagues and wars. We nearly went extinct and pulled ourselves back. That experience taught us that life is precious, all life, and worth defending. The assembly erupted in applause. These men and women understood. They had joined the military to protect Earth. Now they protected more than that. They protected the idea that the strong should defend the weak, that neighbors should help neighbors, that the galaxy could be better. Ambassador Hai visited Earth for the first time 3 years after the battle. Even in the low-gravity sections of the orbital station, Earth's presence was overwhelming. She insisted on landing despite the danger. She wanted to understand the world that had produced these strange, violent, compassionate beings. Admiral Tay, promoted after his success at Valen Prime, met her at the Seoul spaceport. They walked through a park together. The gravity was crushing even in the reinforced suit she wore. The sights and sounds and smells were intense. "Your world is beautiful and terrifying," Hai said. Tay nodded. "It made us who we are. Earth forced us to be tough, to adapt, to survive. But it also taught us cooperation. Humans nearly destroyed ourselves many times. We are only here because we learned to work together." They stopped at a memorial. It listed the names of those who died in the gene plague. 3 billion names carved in stone. "We remember what it cost to survive," Tay said quietly. "We remember the people who did not make it. That is why we came when you called, because we know what it means to face extinction. We know what it means to need help. Hai understood now. The Deathworlders deployed a full fleet not to show off their power. They did it because they genuinely cared, because their own suffering had taught them compassion. "Thank you," she said, "for everything." "That is what neighbors do," Tay replied. In the newly constructed Museum of Friendship on Valen Prime, the first exhibit showed a single image: 43 human warships arriving in Valen space, coming to answer a desperate plea from strangers. The plaque below read, "They expected aid. We received salvation. Humanity taught us that in this vast, often hostile galaxy, compassion backed by strength is the most powerful force of all." And across the stars, on dozens of worlds, other species were learning the same lesson. The Deathworlders from Earth had changed the galaxy, not through conquest, but through an unexpected combination of overwhelming military power and genuine kindness. The galaxy would never be the same.